herbs are extremely powerful. Every single herb contains its own energy. Nearly every single herb out there can actually be used for something. As I said, the herbs are extremely powerful. For example, if you suffer from depression, or if you feel really sad constantly, if you are anxious all the time, or if you're nervous all the time, or if you even have a problem sleeping, for example, St. John's wort is actually one of the best things that you can get. And what I'm going to try to teach you today is how to actually pick up your own herb and make your own tincture or make your own tea that you can drink every time when you feel down, or every time when you feel a little bit depressed, and every time when you're anxious, or even if you like suffer from insomnia, when you drink a herbal tea, St. John's wort herbal tea, or when you drink the actual tincture, this can help you in a long run. So if you take it in the daytime, it should help you actually fall asleep in the evening. So it's St. John's wort is extremely versatile herb, one of my favorites. But I would be very careful, like for example, if you take St. John's wort herb and you're on other medications, maybe you should actually check with your doctor. Or I wouldn't really recommend to take a St. John's wort tea or a tincture for somebody who, for example, is suffering from depression and is on the medications from the doctor. I would definitely not recommend that, because the medications from the doctor are basically really powerful medications that are completely that are like chemicals basically, and I don't know nothing about the medications from the doctor. It's only doctor knows what the medication actually does and how the medication works. What I do know is about the St. John's wort, and the way the St. John's wort works is basically it increases levels of serotonin in the brain, which just makes us feel really good. Well, it does work in a way like a real medication, because it's a real natural medication, and this is why you should never really mix something like a St. John's wort, which is a natural medication, with the medications from the doctor. If you're not on medications from the doctor and you suffer from all those things that I said, I would definitely recommend St. John's wort, because it does work. The wonderful thing about St. John's wort is that it does make complete difference when you pick the actual herb by yourself. By picking the actual herb by yourself, the St. John's wort, at the right time, you're just putting all this energy in. By touching it, you're chanting. By touching it, you're putting all this energy in, and you are getting familiar with the herb, and the herb is getting familiar with you. The herb is getting to know you, and you're getting to know the herb. By touching the herb and picking it up and placing it really nicely and carefully, let's say in the bag next to you, the herb is picking up all the negativities about it already. The herb is getting to know you, and the herb will be able to help you almost straight away. And this is how it works, and this is why it's quite important just to, if you could pick it up by yourself and make the actual St. John's wort tincture or tea by yourself, would be ideal. The perfect time to pick St. John's wort would be, you see, it's only like about a week, even less than a week left, and this is the fascinating thing about it, that the active ingredient in St. John's wort is Hypericum, basically. Hypericum, or the active ingredient, is active only from the 25th of June until the end of that month, which is just like about 5 days or whatever it is. It's only from the 25th of June until the end of that month you can pick St. John's wort, and you can place all the energy in, as I already mentioned, and pick as much as you can. Pick the flowers, pick the leaves, pick absolutely everything. The whole herb is going to be completely fully beneficial for symptoms of anxiety, depression, tiredness, or insomnia. It's a wonderful and ever so powerful herb. Once you pick the herb, obviously you let it dry. You try to spread it open as much as you can. Put it somewhere on like a paper, maybe in the shade, or maybe somewhere where it can be like completely in a completely aerated area. Never leave it in the bag, in a plastic bag or anything like that, because the herb actually doesn't get a chance to dry properly. So you always have to spread it nicely open and let it dry naturally. Let it dry naturally. Once the herb is dry, this is how the actual St. John's wort is going to look like. This is how it's going to look like, basically. You see, it's a dry herbs. I've got a selection of the actual. Let me show you. I actually like the. It's a beautiful smell. I absolutely love it. You see, this is the actual dry leaf, St. John's wort, and this is, for example, the actual pieces, bits and pieces of the flowers. But what I do, I tend to not. You see, these are the flowers, St. John's wort flowers. But what I tend to do, I tend to just use everything. I want to use basically the whole herb, because I genuinely believe that the whole herb is beneficial for people to use. Now, you can use a couple of things. You can do a couple of things with this. You see, now you leave it to dry. It takes about a month, let's say about 2-3 weeks maybe to dry. Not too sure exactly how long it takes to dry, but after the actual, and also it depends on the room, how aerated the room is where you're drying it. So let's say it took about 2 or 3 weeks to dry completely. It needs to be completely dry. So if you don't think it's dry, then you have to wait a little bit longer, I'm afraid. As I said, it depends on the room. And this is what it is. You see, I have it in a really big jar. So every time when if I feel down, or if I feel really tired, or if I feel anxious because of something, I just basically open my St. John's wort jar, and I take some of the leaves together, mixed up with the actual flour, and I take it and I just put it in a cup, and I just pour a hot water over it. I put maybe a little bit of honey just for the taste, and off I go. I can honestly feel the almost immediate effect. You can almost feel this beautiful lift that it actually gives you. It's absolutely wonderful. It's a beautiful and completely natural thing to have. You don't have to even take it. You don't have to take it all the time. You take it on and off. I take it. I have no rules. I take it when I feel like it, every now and then. I actually enjoy the taste. I literally enjoy the taste. But to me, it's like a little power, energy. It makes me feel really good. It makes me feel good because I'm the one who picked this herb myself, and I'm the one who put all the energy into this herb, and now the herb just literally knows me, knows all my problems, knows all my negatives, negative sides of whether I'm basically tired all the time, or whether I'm basically nervous all the time, whether I'm suffer from depression. All these things are picked up by the herb already. Almost as if you are basically programming this herb. You program the actual herb by yourself when you do something like that, because the herb will get to know you and you get to know the herb. It's not only St. John's wort herb that you can do this, for example. You can do with any herb, any a lavender or rosemary or sage, or any herbs you pick. Just leave a few seconds, have that connection. As soon as you touch it, say what would you like this herb to do to you. Say it, and just hold the herb nice and gently, and before every single time you pick the herb up, just pick the herb up and basically take the herb off, and that this is just going to be engraved, or it's going to be like a kind of programmed in the herb. Another thing that you can do is also you can make a tincture, St. John's wort tincture. Tincture is much stronger. A tincture looks like this, which I made myself. And basically it's inside here. Obviously I had this since last June, July. This is when I made it, and I've left it inside for so long, you see, since last June and July. So it's going to be nearly a year that this has been in this jar. And why did I leave it in a year for such a long time? Because this is a tincture. So it's made with a very extremely strong 50% alcohol. 50% alcohol with, let's say, I fill this jar up. Firstly, you fill the jar up with the herbs, let's say up to here, as much as you can, really, and the rest you just fill up, which is what I did. You just fill up with a very strong 50% alcohol. That way the alcohol is going to preserve the herb, and it's going to bring out all the active ingredients are going to be taken out with this process. But why in alcohol, and why 50%? Because I will be able to preserve this for many years, for 5-6 years. I'm not too sure exactly, but I know it's going to be preserved for years when it's made in alcohol. You can also do it with a white vinegar. which is fantastic to preserve. If you know, if someone doesn't want alcohol in particular, you can also do it with a white vinegar. It's going to last slightly shorter, like about a year. And but to me, it's much better to last longer like this, and this is the only reason why I actually preserve this in alcohol. And another thing I was going to mention, the reason why I still have this in my jar since last July is as long as you leave it like this, preserved in the alcohol tincture, as long as you leave it like that, the more powerful herb is going to become. The more active ingredients are actually going to be drawn out of the herb, and the most powerful herb is actually going to be. And the very important thing is to mention as well, twice a day, just to keep on shaking the actual jar like this, twice a day. You don't have to leave it for like nearly a year like I left. I left it on purpose because I've done this before. But I've done this many times, but I decided to leave this one slightly longer than I normally do, is because I want it to be very, very powerful, extremely powerful. But it's always important to remember to just shake it twice a day. Give it a very, very good shake like this, so the active ingredients can be drawn out on a daily basis, every day. But normally you don't have to do it, you don't have to leave it that long. You leave it like about 2 or 3 months. You will know when it's ready. You see, it depends. You will know when it's ready as soon as the water start turning red, as soon as the actual liquid, I don't know if you can see it. You see, as soon as the actual liquid literally starts turning red, because remember, it's a pure alcohol, 50% alcohol without any color or anything. So it's all meant to be like a clear, so to start with, it's like a clear water, basically. And then with the shaking on every day, the clear water starts being red. And once it's really, really red, like this one here, once it's really red like that, then it's ready to basically be used. Then you can take like a little, you know, you can place it in a little tiny containers, or however it's easier going to be for you to actually use this, like when you're on a go and you don't feel right, then you have it in your bag, you take it out, you put a few drops in your tongue, or you put like a few drops in a little glass, and this will make you feel better. It's an amazing herb, and it's an amazing herb with a beautiful properties. As I mentioned, it just I always say to everyone, try natural, really try natural. If you feel like a negative or sad or depressed, please try something like this. This is given from the Mother Nature. This is the best medicine, and it does work. And it's basically, yeah, it's called St. John's wort, and it's something definitely that I would love you to try. Well, thank you very much for watching. Sasha Bonasin, Psychic Medium.